first of all, I'm so excited that you all are here, and thank you to Brand Innovators for sponsoring. Thank you to Joe for all the work on this. It's been super fun getting organized. And I just have to say, you're going to see a lot of the Ulta Beauty team today, and I hope you kind of take away the family that we have here and how fun the work is and how passionate we are. So, Muffy, Clince, Director of Emerging Brands, have been with Ulta Beauty about 18 years, which is a long, long time. We had 125 stores when I started, so the growth trajectory has been incredible. Started my career though up in Minneapolis with the Target Corporation, so had 7 years there before this time here. So I've done a lot of work, have been in many of the merchandising worlds, and we'll talk a little bit about the work that we've started now on the emerging brand side, and we'll go from there.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here as a mom of 2 teenage daughters.
Yes.
Actively follow every viral product that goes on Ulta, and a family of 4 girls. We're huge fans of the brand. And I know, before we get started, today we're going to talk a little bit about Sparked and emerging brands. We're going to talk about conscious beauty. We'll talk a little bit about the DEI BIPOC efforts. But before we get into that, 18 years. I mean, that's amazing. It's such a huge testament to the brand and the company. Tell us a little bit about what has kept you at Ulta for so long. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a little bit about what Michelle said. I think at Ulta we're always trying to figure out how to improve the guest experience, how to improve and be better partners in the communities that are out there. I think that's why we have a lot of long-term, really powerful relationships. And I think the other thing is we do foster growth, which I think as we've built out, if you think of Michelle and she's like, I have 5 people and I have 35, the company, and it's been this way with the leadership that we had since Lynn Kirby, and Mary Dillon has been extremely supportive, and Dave's been amazing. But they really believe in growth from within and building the business together and thinking of the guests first. Even Monica, our CMO, says if you think of the guest and the guest experience and improving that, how can we service them, and how do we then drive our business and make our decisions, which in the end then you're kind of doing it for the common good, which is really exciting. And I think we've grown that way. We kind of see ourselves always a little bit as an underdog. We started out so small and we've grown so big, and I think that's kept us humble as we've grown so big, and it makes us very proud of the work that we've done. So I've had a lot of really amazing opportunities and amazing mentors at Ulta Beauty, and as a mom, I'm a mom of 3, college, high school, junior high, and being able to raise a family and have career opportunities has been really phenomenal. And as I've grown, the career has grown in tandem, so I've been really lucky. And this work started about 4 years ago, which has been really special, but just having the opportunity and the community and the support at a company like ours, I think is something very special. And so I think that's why you see the loyalty. We were standing in line last week. I was with the VP. I was with Jeff Ham's partner, who's the VP of e-com, and we had 100 years of Ulta experience in just 4 people. So it's just incredible, the team that we have and how loyal they are to the work that we're doing. So
I think that humility and the commitment to the changing consumer expectation, especially over the last 3 years, has been what has contributed to the amazing growth that Ulta has seen. I mean, I was reading up the other day, and I mean, the growth that you have seen in 2022 is amazing. I think, especially I think it's safe to say that, we've all ditched our beauty and skincare routines of pre-2020 with this renewed focus on health and wellness and personalized beauty, which has segued beautifully into what you've done with Sparked and emerging brands and the conscious beauty effort. So let's talk a little bit about that, and let's talk about, we could spend the whole time talking about the emerging brands, but let's talk a little bit about 2022 and the brands that you brought on this year and how that all took shape and what made them successful.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Before my role with Emerging Brands, we built the team. The team didn't exist 4 years ago. So we realized I actually had our 2 biggest prestige cos brands at the time, which were talking hundreds of millions of dollars. And I had just launched Chanel Beauté into Ulta Beauty, which was a really exciting launch for us. And we realized this indie brand space was really gaining traction, right? But the one thing about the indie brand space was that it needed a lot of TLC. So we know, and you talk to Google, you talk to all of the social media, and it's all about what's my girlfriend recommending. Some of the highest search items are what's the new, it item. You'll see it on TikTok all the time now. What are people recommending? We realize this is so much of the future, and this is what the guest is looking for. So 4 years ago, we really realized, oh my gosh, we really have to take care of these brands, give them a sort of soft landing nest coming into Ulta Beauty so they can succeed and thrive. So we started the work, we launched Sparks 3 years ago, and it's a robust campaign for us where we celebrate the brands and we market them a little bit differently and bring them to market in collections and tell the stories of the founders, tell the stories of the innovative formulas, and really talk about the discovery of the new it brands. So for us, it really, the guest was wanting it, and we wanted to make sure we were packaging it in a house of 600 brands. Michelle was talking about how robust our assortment is. We have 600 brands, and they're across all the categories, and again, you don't want them to get lost. So we built the Spark platform specifically for that. We have a merch organization to support that, as well as marketing partners and inventory support as well, so that they can understand the business, learn all things Ulta Beauty. We actually have a little manual for them too, so that it's like class, and then they can graduate and go into the home team. So that work started, we're about 3 years old now. We've launched about 100 brands in that time, which is incredible. And the guest is hungry, which we love that. And again, it's that discovery and what's the next innovative formula, and why does that resonate with the guest? And we really found that it resonates because there are needs out there that are still unmet, which is wild. Some of that ties back to wellness, which I think we'll touch on. But the guest is looking for cleaner formulas. They're looking for more efficacious formulas, and we can bring that to market in those different categories for the guest and in all the price points, which is important as well. So that's where Spark started, and so from there we've built out some additional support into conscious beauty and our DEI BIPOC work as well.
So how, if I was an emerging brand or I was going to start my own clean beauty line, how would they get to Muffy? Like, how would they get to your team? Like, what does that process look like?
Yes, we have a full-time person that just scouts brands. So we
And is that on social media, or is it across, I mean, talking about all the platforms that we're plugging into, and I mean, I think it's so interesting to watch the way that consumers are finding their beauty products now versus even 5 years ago. Like, how are they finding Ulta and getting in touch with the right people?
Yeah, so we are out. We do outreach quite a bit. There's many different facets. We talk to investors who are investing in D2C brands. We talk to brands that are we actually talk to companies that are shipping D2C brands as well. Oh my gosh, have you talked to this brand? There's quite a bit of volume here. Would you like us to intro? So we've got our feelers out, but then inbound, there is a merch submission tab on ultabeauty.com where anyone can submit, and everyone will get a response within 30 days. So if anyone needs that, we can get that to you, but there is a submission link and you'll put the information in, so that's an option. But we're always on social media. We actually have, we do our own listing, social listing. We also have null searches on Ulta.com that we're always looking, what's the guest looking for and not finding. That could be an item within a brand, it could be a full brand. And you would die what some people are searching that we don't have, but it's good to know.
But you were talking, I mean, you're just intimate. Well, I mean, there are
Yes.
so many different, product lines that Ulta could bring in. So it's interesting just looking and talking about what they were saying of looking at the search behaviors on the site and then responding to that. There's so much that you can pull from. So for 2022, was there a particular emerging brand that you were particularly proud of, or that your team was excited? I mean, I know they're all amazing in their own way, but was there a specific brand that you were excited about or that you saw take shape over the year?
Yeah, I would say a couple to keep your eyes on, just as far as some of
Please.
the new ones that we're really excited about. And actually, I'm leaving right after this. Unfortunately, I can't stay. But Deepika from Live Tinted, who is a founder, we launched Live Tinted less than a year ago. But she is, I don't know if you know her, but I would suggest following her. She's amazing. She was named one of Time's Women of the Year. She's an incredible founder. She was an influencer, but before that, she's been a businesswoman and worked in beauty. But she did a YouTube video about color correcting on South Asian skin with a red lipstick, and it went viral. She's been on the Today Show. It's been incredible. She then created a brand. She uses clean ingredients. She has skincare and everything as well. It's a really beautiful story, and the community that she's built, I think, is really, we feel, is very impressive. And she's just incredibly intelligent. She jokes she's the only one in her family that's not a doctor. So when you hear the stories of these founders and what they're doing to she's like, I want every brown girl to see a brand, to see me, to see themselves in a store, in a beauty store. Right. So when they're doing that work, I think it's really special. So Deepika Live Tinted is amazing. Another one that's kind of fun is Skip, which is a new hair and body brand. Fully sustainable, first of its kind beauty carton. So you can throw it out in your recycle bin after you use it. It stains up in your shower. It's actually from the founder who created the brand Pharmacy. If you guys have heard the brand, skincare brand Pharmacy, and then he exited, and this is his second project. So Mark Beater is one of the co-founders. It's super cool as far as trying to do better for the planet. Another one, which is a hoot, is Vacation Inc. I don't know if you guys have heard of it,
Yes.
but is what they call the world's best-selling sunscreen. And it's created, there's actually Poolside Radio, which is a .com website, which was created to have cool, easy listening tunes while you're just working at your desk. They have 1 million people a day listening to this website. They used all of that information, and then they created this brand, which is all retro, 80s vibe. It is amazing, and the fragrance is selling a standalone, better, one of the most highly, the sell-through is one of the highest, and we can't keep it in stock. So one of the most highly in demand items. So those are a couple little ones from this year that are super fun. We've got more coming, but I can't
I know, I was going to ask. Well, and that's what's so amazing is keeping up with the consumer change and the demand, especially over the last 3 years. I think Ulta's done a phenomenal job of listening and meeting the consumer where they are. You know, that's why you've seen the success that you've seen. So you can't tell us anything about 2023 or anything we should look out for without naming names or any, I would say, category. You talked a little bit yesterday about that. Anything we should keep our eye out for next year?
Yeah, so for us, just in general, I think the tie between beauty and wellness has been really important. So you'll see on Ulta.com, there's a wellness landing page, there's a wellness concept. It has 6 pillars that we speak to. The guests through COVID really understood self-care in a whole nother level, like you said, with skincare and beauty. Regimens changed, but they're still taking better care of themselves, and that's really a piece of beauty now. So we're really, that's kind of something for us that's been really important. We've expanded our in-store to around 800 doors, and the online has expanded as well. That now has intimate wellness, which is also sexual wellness, and it's new. We just launched it about 5 weeks ago, and the feedback has been super positive. There's just a lot of support that needs to be out there in this space. So for us, that's exciting, the wellness space. And then the tangency or to conscious beauty. About half of our brands are in our conscious beauty program now. This is 2 years old. Our platform, it is a holistic platform, and it speaks to the guests, their passion for clean, cruelty-free, vegan, sustainable, and then giving back or positive impact. So that for us has been a very big, important program. Many of our brands are coming to market that way, which is another reason why Emerging Brands has been doing so well on the Spark platform, because table stakes is now clean formulations and cruelty-free, and more you'll see for next year, kind of a preview, but sustainability is becoming more and more important to our guests. What are those solutions, and how is packaging evolving? We've made a pledge as a company by 2025 to have 50% of our packaging made of recycled or recyclable products, which is a really big commitment that no one else in the specialty business has made. And we're really proud of that and working towards that on the conscious beauty side. So you'll see more in that space.
No, I
which
can't
is
believe
exciting.
over half of your brands are certified in those 5 pillars. One of those 5 pillars, I think consumers, that's a baseline expectation for consumers. I mean, and they have so many things that they need to check the box for when they're looking for a beauty wellness brand, and I think that's unbelievable that
It's yes, that there's so much hunger there in that
Yes.
space, and also the piece of it for us that we're excited about is it's Gen Z and young millennial that is super hyper engaged in that space, and their intention for purchase, like repurchase and purchase in that space, is extremely high. So for us, that's really exciting to see.
Yeah. Okay, well, I know we're 5 minutes,
yeah.
but
Oh.
tell a little bit.
You have an extra 5, we're running over.
Okay, all right.
So, go ahead.
I don't want to miss talking about DEI and BIPOC and
Yes.
efforts that you have paved the way. I think it's amazing what Ulta has done in this space. Let's talk a little bit about this year and what has taken shape with that division and how you've seen growth and change, especially over the last year or so.
Yeah, so this space for us is, Ulta Beauty overall. I think you see it in our dialogue on social media. You see it when Dave is speaking or when Mary was speaking. But this space, the DEI BIPOC, has been important to us for years. Obviously, everything's been escalated as far as just visibility over the last couple of years. But for us, it's really in our DNA. Even in our leadership model, inclusivity is just something that it's a non-starter. So for us, it's really exciting and important. On the merchandising side, though, we know that I would say the BIPOC guest, the Black guest, our BIPOC guest is highly engaged. They are beauty enthusiasts. They spend more than many other segments. So for us, there's also that piece that are we taking care of the guests and are we servicing them with what they're looking for? So we've made a concerted effort. We took the 15% pledge last year in May, and that's a pledge where you've committed to building out growth in this space, in the BIPOC space, both in receipts and in assortment. And for us, we doubled our assortment last year of brands, and then this year we have another 50% increase, which is incredible. But that's all well and good, but for us, we really care about making sure that the brands are thriving. And for us in the emerging brands, it becomes a family. We're raising these brands together, and we know so much about what they need, and many of these brands don't have the resources. So we built our accelerator program this year to help support the brands in need. So BIPOC brands, we have 8 of them in our accelerator. It just launched in early September. It's a 10-week program. Each of the brands gets a $50,000 grant, and then they get coaching, mentorship, and essentially personal office hours and support for that time, but then they're also part of our family ongoing. We may actually not launch the brands. It's up to them if we feel like it's a fit, but we really want to be part of their family forever. So that's part of the work that we're doing in the DEI BIPOC world. We've also built an internal ecosystem, and we've got everything from accounts payable help to supply chain help to co-op and expense help to try to help these brands succeed. And I ask of this team that's here, when you think of the superpowers that we have in this room and the marketing support and the brain power that we have, these brands need help and they need access to resources. So if someone comes knocking, give them that extra thought, that extra nudge, that extra point them in the right direction, because sometimes, we have simple things that they can't deposit a check that we send to them. Like, they have hurdles around every corner, and you all have power in this room to help. So I asked that just a little bit.
Yeah,
had to
no,
get on my
and I think
soapbox.
that was important is we all, I know everyone has a commitment to that, every brand, every company, but what does that really mean and what does that really look like? So I would say, like, let's lean into that and the things that Ulta has done to kind of bring them on brand, but then also create a framework for success. So I would say, jump on the soapbox, tell us what we can do and continue to do into 2023, knowing some of the brands that you've been talking with. Is there anything specific for 2023 that sticks out to you in relation to these brands?
Yeah, I would just say, I think when we think of the hurdles that they have, it is everything from financing to marketing. And we all know that the landscape, just like Michelle showed, look at how quickly our landscape is changing in marketing, in digital, in innovation, and they're trying to keep up, and they're trying to stay competitive, and they're trying to secure funding. And they don't have the opportunities that everyone else has, so how can we help? So I think it's just a matter of keeping the door open, taking that mentoring call, being open. And, it goes to as simple things as they can't find the right raw materials or have the right resources in some of those packaging discussions that others do. So some of that are things we can affect, and other things is just a matter of just maybe you're talking to a friend at a party and someone could be a resource to someone else. So I think it's just keeping the door open. Because honestly, it is unfair, but we can all make it better. So,
and things that we would normally take for granted just need to be, put front and center, and accessibility, that is so important.
100%.
One thing you said yesterday that I thought was so interesting is a lot of these brands, they're not just for BIPOC, they're for,
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. I thought that was so interesting. I think that's such an important component as we're looking at beauty for all and inclusivity. That was so phenomenal to me. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and Lisa, who will talk later today on the panel, but one of the biggest pieces that we are so passionate about is that many of these BIPOC founders, they formulate for all out of the gate. They know what it's like to not be represented, and so they don't even think of that as an option. They want to make sure everyone is included on the journey. So for us, even when we market these brands, we talk about Black brilliance for all. If you think of some trends, many of them come from this BIPOC or ethnic space. So how can we make sure and celebrate them, but realize that these are brands that we all can use in many, many times, many ways, shapes, and forms. If you think of a simple brand like Homebody, which is a bath salts brand, the founders are phenomenal, and the product is amazing. And that there's just many, many brands, even in the color space, where they're formulating for all. And I think many times people think, oh, this is a Black-owned or founded brand. It's not for me, but that's not the case. And actually, it's amazing for us to see these are our very best guests that are shopping. Actually, we just got a whole bunch of insights work back on our, what we call our waffle brands, but our Black-owned, founded, and led brands. It's a more diverse guest, it's a younger guest, and they spend substantially more, not even double digits, like substantially more than even our average baseline guests for those that are buying these brands. So it makes good business sense, and you can tell they can't drive those numbers without being inclusive, which is really incredible.
And I think to be able to capture all of these different pillars, conscious beauty, BIPOC, emerging brands, and bring it all together in a very cohesive, seamless way is phenomenal. So with the little time we have left, just a quick rapid fire. In the 18 years that you've been at Ulta, what has been the most exciting launch that you've worked on? Or like the brand that you thought, oh my God, I can't believe I get to work on this or launch this?
Oh my God, there's so many. Probably, the one that took the longest was probably Chanel.
Chanel. Okay.
Literally, it took 18 months on the contract alone.
Okay.
So, just to give you
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you want to talk about red line?
Yes. Yeah. I bet.
Forever. Yeah.
Yes.
So that was probably the most involved.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when you probably have so many products available. What are your top 3 products that you buy at Ulta?
Oh my God, I love this question. First of all, if you all aren't a part of our loyalty program, you have to. It's phenomenal. I just got a Dyson Airwrap, which is one of my favorite.
Yes.
I've had it. I bought a second one so my daughter, who's a college
Yes.
student,
Yes.
could have her own. I literally bought it and paid $9 for it. It's a $600 item. So I just have to say, join loyalty. The Airwrap, the Dyson Airwrap is phenomenal. I love Live Tinted's Glow, the Hue Glow. It has squalene in it, which I think is phenomenal, and it makes you, I think, look 10 years younger as soon as you use it. And then I have to say Beauty Stat, which if you don't know Ron Robinson, he's an amazing chemist that made his own beauty brand, and he has this phenomenal, it's a skincare based on vitamin C, but his is sort of a first of its kind version of vitamin C. They have a skin refiner that is lovely, and if you're not using mascara, you guys always know sort of the iconic Better Than Sex, and even just some of the Benefit brow products are some favorites
and there's a mascara by Ilia that everyone's talking
yes,
about.
yes,
That's exciting.
yes.
Does anyone have any questions for Muffy? I know she has access to a lot of exciting information. Anything that anyone wants to ask before we wrap it up?
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Muffy, I know that, when you talk about beauty, people talk about Gen Z and millennials as kind of those key segments, but I'm just wondering if you're seeing any innovation with the senior segment.
Oh my gosh,
Great
that is
question.
so.
I know,
that
right?
is such a good
We're all-
question. Well, I would even say for Monica, who's our CMO, and if you guys don't know Monica, she is amazing. She's an angel. She's so funny, and she's been in the industry a long, long time. But she's like, we have so much money. Like, she's in her 50s, and she was like, people forget, like 45 to 65, there's so much. There's quite the purchasing power there. And I would say for us, one of the biggest segments that we're watching and supporting is, or working to have the dialogue with, would be your skin changes, your hair changes, and your makeup changes when you hit that change in life at that time. So I would tell you, yes, there's more to come in that space. You'll see too in our wellness segment, we've expanded into menopause care, and there's menopositivity, they call it now. So there's definitely a big segment that's sort of popping right now. The other piece, if you're not using it, you guys, scalp serums are life-changing. I think you have the best hair. You could say not, but I feel like personally my hair is like the
You
best.
have great hair.
But it's literally because of scalp serums, and when your hair changes, you need to start really taking care of the scalp. But those little key pieces are definitely picking up. Better Not Younger is a great brand for that as well. So great question. You'll see it in wellness, but you'll see more coming because it's sort of like a bubbling sort of hotbed right now. Yep. Cool. Awesome. Joe, thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
And before Muffy leaves, she doesn't know I'm doing this, but like October is Breast Cancer Awareness